Hello and welcome to today's episode of Today in Quarantine. I'm your host, Renee Cross, coming to you live from Lincoln, Nebraska, where the sun is shining and the tank is clean. Right now, the sun is actually not really shining per se, but the good news is that the sun is always shining behind the clouds. The sky is always blue behind the clouds. I've heard that. My Spanish teacher told me that in high school. The sun is always blue behind the clouds, and it's stuck with me ever since. People are always like, "Oh, the sun is shining behind the clouds." Yeah, but the sky stays blue even though there are clouds in front of it. So take that as you will. Run with that today, and yeah, in an attempt to kind of lighten up kind of moods, especially my mood, there's just been a lot of talk about recent events. So I'm going to try and not mention them right now. If you'd like to see some of my remarks or Pastor Gua's remarks on them, you can watch yesterday's episode, episode 70, or the day before that, episode 69, and where I talk a little bit more about those things. But in an attempt to kind of take a breath for 10 minutes or so, let's talk about something else. Today is a drive-in at Northside SDA Church. So I'm going to make this episode a little bit shorter because I need to be there by 4:30. So I'm just going to make this a little bit shorter than normal, about 10 minutes. But today in quarantine, one thing that I've done is go to an online Bible study. And I've come to realize in this time of everything going on, that I really value having those relationships and discussions in a setting. Just having good discussions. And so it's pretty cool to just discuss. I value Sabbath school so much. And I think I value it more than church because it's just a different environment and it's interactive, whereas church is I sit and listen. Yes, I receive the word, but I'm just sitting and listening. So which one do you tend to value more? Let me know in the comments. My mom was asking, it's a drive-in church service today. So it's funny how our vocabulary over the past couple months has changed to include these, drive-by used to be like a shooting or something like that. Now it's a birthday party where everybody goes and honks. So it's a very different setting of things, but they're having a drive-in worship service at Northside today. That's actually why I wasn't on the podcast yesterday, because I was over there practicing. So yeah, my mom also values Sabbath school a little bit more than church. What do you value? So yeah. One other thing that I value and talk about just really quickly is this tradition that we had at home when I was growing up. Of every Friday evening, we would make soup. Now, I don't like soup on a normal basis, but on Fridays is the only day when I'd make an exception. I always say the phrase, and my parents can probably say it with me, soup is for Fridays, but Fridays are not necessarily for soup. But yesterday, I was craving soup on Friday, so I made some. It was pretty good. It was garbanzos, acorn squash, potatoes, carrots, coconut milk, curry. It was a really good soup. It was fantastic, at least in my opinion. And I shared some with some other people, and they said it was also very good. So I enjoyed that. I did not have chips last night. That's the other tradition. But I did have bread that I bought from a bakery. So I did not have chips, but I had bread. And the bread was also very good. But yeah, some things like that just kind of add some stability. One thing that I actually have found, and I've talked about this a little bit in previous episodes, is finding stability in routine. One thing that I do like to do is not eat in front of my computer or in front of the TV, especially now. I usually like to sit down and eat my lunch or my breakfast or whatever it is at a table and just eat there, because it just kind of adds a sort of goalpost to my day, some boundaries of what my day consists of. And so if you're looking for a simple way to add routine into your life, just sit at a table and eat your meals instead of sitting at your computer or at watching TV. Also, I think there have been some studies shown that if you're eating and you're focusing more on the food than like something else, so if you're like watching TV or being on your computer, if you're sitting and eating, you feel more full. Also, they say that if you're sitting and talking with friends if you're in a social group and eating, then you also feel more full after that, which explains why sometimes at Thanksgiving you feel more full than others. If you're eating Thanksgiving with a lot of people, you're gonna feel full because you're happy about the social gathering. And so in this time of social distancing, maybe call a friend while you're eating and have lunch together over the phone or over FaceTime. Just kind of add in some solidity to your life. It's definitely something that I enjoy doing. At least 2 out of 3 of the meals in the day, sometimes all 3 of those meals, I try and sit at a table and eat or go outside and eat. Even if I go outside and eat, then I'm really, really focused on just kind of what's happening around me and eating. And it helps. It definitely does help. Well, today is Sabbath, and I did not get to share Sabbath jokes last week because I got kind of cut off, at least on YouTube. So let's talk some dad jokes from the Bible. That's right. You heard it here first. You know whose parents didn't tell dad jokes though? Joshua. He was the son of none. Get it? Because if he was nobody's son, then nobody was telling him jokes. Ha 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 ha. Ha 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 ha. Thank you, audience. Thank you. Oh man. All right. So, what kind of car does Jesus drive? A Chrysler. Oh man. What do we have that Adam, the first person in the Bible, Adam never had? 2 things: a belly button and ancestors. Oh man. This is kind of bad. What excuse did Adam give to his children as to why they no longer lived in Eden? Your mother ate us out of house and home. Oh man, that was bad. Oh boy. Let's see. Where is medicine first mentioned in the Bible? When God gave Moses 2 tablets. Oh boy. Let's see. Back in the day, they did have phones in the Bible. You know how I know? It's because Adam and Eve were the first people not to read the Apple terms and conditions. Oh boy. Okay. All right. I think that's enough for today. I think that's pretty good for today. Hope you could get a laugh from today's episode. I hope that you've been blessed on the Sabbath. Take these jokes and share them with somebody else who might need a laugh today. Also, good news. One of the really cool things about all the protests, and I know I wasn't going to mention this before, but one of the really cool things about all the protests is that at one of the protests, the Amish came out and were protesting along with their brothers and sisters of that community. That's the coolest thing I've seen today. So share good news with somebody around you. Be the good news for somebody around you. And thank you for tuning in for Today in Quarantine. And we'll see you tomorrow for Today in Quarantine. Have a great day.